同学请坐，学姐上课。Hello， 大家好，我是慧心学姐。不知道大家还有没有印象？我之前有采访过一个哥大的教育学院的硕士，让他给大家来提供一些学英语的小技巧啊，来帮助你们在短时间之内提高英语成绩，还有说怎么样来锻炼自己的口语啊，还有怎么样来提高自己对学英语的兴趣。其实John呢，他真的不仅仅是一个哥大的教育学院的 Master 这么简单，他不仅仅是一个硕士，他是一个真正的英语老师。怎么说呢？他其实本科毕业之后，他直接就是工作了。然后他在韩国和咱们中国有10多年的一个英语教学经验。他很喜欢教育，所以他继续读了一个教育学的博士。他深耕的那一块仍然是英语教学，所以跟着一个地道的美国人，然后再辅助于他自己学的一些很专业的教学方法。我觉得他的一些建议，我个人感觉还是特别好的。之前的那些东西我可能没剪太好，所以这次想剪一个精华，然后把最精华的东西传递给大家。Hello， 我们今天非常高兴的请到了哥伦比亚大学教师学院的，他是英语系的 Master， 所以我们现在来问他一些问题，帮助大家提高一下自己的英语水平，解答一下你们对学英语的一些疑问。Okay, hi John.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming. I've heard that you have been working in China for several years, right?
For 1 year.
For 1 year and several years in Korea?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and you are a professional English teacher.
Yes.
And you have many English teaching experience in
Korea and China and New York.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
I have already collected some questions from my Chinese audience, so today I'm going to ask you some about the questions to help them improve their English. And here's the first one. Could you give us some advice to help them promote their interest in learning English?
Sure. Yeah. I think what they should do is take advantage of the interests they already have. Because you can find anything you're already interested in, find a material of that in English. So I feel like if you're interested in movies, you can read and watch movies in English. If you're interested in science, you can learn about science in English. So that's the good thing about learning a language.
Okay.
So you can use any topic that you want. Movie, science, it depends what you're interested in. If you like art, if you like sports, you can read about and listen to videos about any of these things, anything you want in English.
Okay.
Just find the topic that interests you and then see what you can find about it in English. And after you get started, you'll get more and more interest, I think.
Okay, thank you. So do you ever learn some second languages yourself?
I've learned a little bit of Chinese from living in China and a lot more Korean.
So how do you help yourself to promote your own interest in learning your second language?
For me, I like comedies, so I found some interesting, funny shows that I want to watch more and more. So, for example, when I want to learn some Korean, I'd watch a Korean TV show. First, I would use Korean subtitles, and then I would turn off the Korean subtitles.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was interested, so I watched hundreds of episodes.
Do you always watch them for just one time or several times for one video?
In the end, I'll watch it several times. Because even if you think about in your own language, when you watch a TV show when you're a kid, you'll see the same movie or same TV episode again and again. And I think in learning a language, it's really helpful.
Yeah, repeat is very important, right?
Yeah, repeating is important, but of course only the first time. You might want the subtitles, and then when you watch it again, you should turn off the subtitles and see if you can remember what does it mean. And then those words, those sound bites will stick in your head with the meaning, and you won't have to think about the Chinese or the other language.
Okay, thank you. Well, students are really concerned about how to improve their English in a very short time. So do you have some advice about that?
Yeah. Don't be lazy. No, I was just kidding.
Or you can say, it's impossible.
No. Okay, so yeah, when I first heard this question, I thought it really depends on your teacher, because a grade, different teachers have different requirements, so that really depends on the teacher and the situation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it depends on the course.
That's because you're a good teacher, so you can
So you say the question from this aspect, but for students that they are saying, oh, I cannot blame all my teachers.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's funny. It's true. Teachers have to take responsibility.
Low grades if they do this.
I know. Yeah, okay. So here's the second thing I can say. Whoever your teacher is, you can improve your grades and your ability to get more from the class if you do two things. And this counts for any subject, not only English. Before class, you need to activate that part of your brain connected to that and activate your prior knowledge about that. That is a big thing that, again, that they are looking at, that they always tell us in our teaching classes, is sometimes the modern teaching plan, they want us to start with something that activates the knowledge of the students related to it. So, for example, if I just ask you a completely random question, like if I say, I don't know, can you tell me how to cook this food? If you weren't thinking about cooking, it will take you a few minutes to start. Or if I say, oh, now could you tell me about this food? Okay, then can you tell me what's your favorite childhood memory? Then can you tell me, how many, I don't know, how many subjects you studied in school? If your brain is jumping from subject to subject, it takes you a little while to adjust. So if you want to improve your grades, before your class starts, look at your English stuff, look at your material, for any class even. If you take 30 minutes before the class starts to review what you studied, to look at your homework, maybe you did your homework a while ago, but review it right before class. So your brain is already thinking about this stuff.
Okay.
That's a good way that should work no matter who your teacher is.
Yes.
The other thing is you need to rest well beforehand, because like I said, learning a language takes higher order thinking skills. And people think, oh, children can learn faster. But actually research shows children don't actually learn faster. If when children and adults are learning another language and they start at the same time, the adults actually start faster. But then children just keep on going and then beat them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The one exception is pronunciation. Children can get pronunciation a little bit better because their tongues, they're just like whatever. But another thing about children is they sleep like 13 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
But rest
So they
is
should
so
sleep
important.
more.
Yes. If you get like 6 hours of sleep, your brain isn't gonna be able to do as well.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever had days where like even no matter how much you learned English, you can have a day and you feel like a fluent native speaker, and then another day you feel like, why can't I do English today? I'm like that with Korean and Chinese. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I got this. It's so easy, but if your brain is kind of tired from the last few days, then I'm like, what is Chinese? What is Korean? I can't even do anything. That's so important, the condition of your body and mind. Yeah. Okay,
That's cool.
yeah. So those are two ways if you can develop good habits for sleeping and for looking at your work before the class.
Okay.
Yeah, then you will activate that part of your brain and you'll be good.
So how long do you sleep every day? I'm very curious about that.
Not enough. Actually, I sleep like 7 to 8 hours actually. Maybe it's enough.
Okay. Me too. 7 hours a day.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. It's very helpful.
Yeah, people gotta think about that. They don't think about how taking care of your body is also good for your studying.
That's right.
That's a big question, actually.
Yes, about how to improve your listening, reading, and writing.
Yeah,
They're
and
very
yeah,
interested in them because they really care about their grades.
yeah, that's true too. I know that the
English
next
test in China is also very hard from all level. You have to take these exams from primary school now, and middle school, high school, and even in our college and
Yeah.
university.
And maybe there's something I could say about exams. I know they didn't have a question about it, but yeah, the one thing, like, I know people who speak English really well, they have a good understanding, but they don't do well on the test. And I know other people who are amazing with the test, but they don't do well in the actual situation.
Yes, that's right.
So, so people should understand, even if they improve their English. I don't know if you're filming or not, actually.
I'm failing.
Okay.
We can continue.
That's good. I didn't know. I just wanted to say it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, some people might be discouraged if they have a low test grade, but they still, even though they practiced, that doesn't mean your English is bad. There's the skill of taking a test, which you have to learn, but it's separate from the skill of speaking and using a language.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so it's kind of two different things you have to learn in order to show that you can speak and use the language for academic purposes.
Yeah. So learning a second language is it's not so easy. We have to care about the exams and also about the real situation.
Yeah, it's two different things. Can be very different skills. That's why no matter how good your English is, you should practice that exact exam that you're going to take.
Yes.
Because that exact exam will have a certain way about it, and something might surprise you if you don't practice it beforehand. You need samples of that exam that you can take. I think it's very important to learn grammar, but there's a good way to learn it and a bad way to learn it. When people talk about grammar, there's actually two kinds of grammar. There's what we call implicit grammar and explicit grammar. So implicit grammar means it's the grammar you know it just from using the language. For example, if I ask a 5-year-old child about some Chinese grammar skills, they won't know any of the answers, but they use them when they're speaking the language. And that's called implicit grammar. It's the same even when I started teaching. I didn't know some of the grammar rules, but I use them. So people ask me questions and I say, this is correct, but I don't know why. But that's implicit grammar. Explicit grammar, you learn about the grammar, but you don't have it in your ability to use it. So that's the thing. So what I recommend, I think you need grammar. It's a basic building block. And you can look at in grammatical form, maybe look at it so you know what it is. But if you don't have it in use, if you don't connect it to using it, then it doesn't help you so much. I mean, you still need it, but you have to connect it to real life somehow. Don't just learn a grammar that's similar to each other. You should learn it based on some situation. For example, what grammar would I need if I go to a coffee shop? Or what grammar would I need if I'm going to the dentist? It's better to keep it in the context of a real situation. But you still need it. I'm sorry.
But grammar rules are very boring, I think.
Yeah, they're especially boring out of context, which is how traditionally people learn them. But the modern research is showing that you should learn it in context, but even grammar. You can look at the grammar form and it's almost mathematical. But then if you just look at one grammatical form and another and another and another, you just remember all these forms, it doesn't help you so much. I can tell you some of my best students haven't studied the grammar as much, and some of my worst students know all the grammar. So it's good to learn grammar, but it's not enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it might be less boring in a context.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we should combine them with
Yeah.
daily life.
Exactly, yeah. That's it.
That's a good advice.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have many good technologies, such as AI technologies. And AI can help us to do simultaneous translations in English. So do you think it's still important for us to learn English or to learn a second language?
I think it's still really good to learn a second language, whether it's English or another language, for a few reasons. Practically, for your immediate life, even though those technologies are available in some places, they're not always available. So a lot of employers or colleges still want you to personally know English. So for your personal life, whether or not the technology is already available, you still need it. And at least for now, you still need it for college. You still need it for your work, for your job, yeah. So that's the personal reason. Another reason why it's important is because language doesn't translate exactly into another language. Like, for example, the Chinese meaning and the English meaning. Like, if you get a machine to translate for you, you don't actually understand perfectly. Do you know what I mean? One language doesn't translate directly into another. The meaning is slightly different. So when you learn another language, when you're actually learning, it actually helps your brain, I think, and it helps your understanding of reality because you can understand things in a slightly different way. So
especially for literature, I think we have many beautiful poetries in Chinese, but if you translate them in English, then I think it's very different. And also for some very famous English poetries, if you translate them into Chinese, then it will lose many things, many meanings.
I feel that's definitely true, and you'll find a lot of words if you just look at the dictionary definition, like then you try to use it when you're speaking the other language. People are confused because it's different. There's a different feeling, and I think that you really open up your mind to understanding the world in a different way when you learn another language. Yeah, and they talk about, like, in your language, like, you have your identity, and when you learn another language, you kind of expand your identity or develop a new identity even, and that can be really nice sometimes. I think it's really good for you to develop as a person in learning another language.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
李晨。
Okay, bye bye.
再见。
好了，以上就是对这种采访的一个精华式的回顾，希望这期视频能够对大家有用吧。反正很多人都说可能是视频缺少干货，但我真的也是在深耕自己的内容了，但苦于真的能力有限吧，所以也需要大家的一些建议和帮助。如果你也想和大家分享你的学习经验，如果你也是一个特别优秀并且乐于帮助别人的人，那非常欢迎你在后台或者说通过微博跟我联系，我们一起把更多更好的方法传递给更多困惑的朋友们。好啦，我是慧琴学姐，关注我，1分钟掌握一个学习经验。